So it's super early morning right now. I woke up like before my alarm and I can't go back to sleep, so I was like, oh, I'll do a live. So I'll explain how to start teaching in Cambodia. So the most important thing is you need a TESOL or TEFL certification. And there's good ones out there, there's bad ones out there. There's quick ones online that maybe you'll get a certificate, but did they really prepare you to be a teacher? Is it going to really look that impressive when you're trying to go for a more competitive spot? Probably not. A more quality TEFL is important, and in the long run, you'll be way better off as a teacher. And when you're applying for jobs, you'll have a better edge than someone who has like just a quick online one. The one I did was in person, so it wasn't just like online slideshow, it was in-person classes with other people. And you role play with each other. You end up making friends with a whole class of people right from the first day you get there. And this program, they actually put near the last week of it, they put you into real schools where you get the opportunity to take over a real class of real students for an hour, like for a whole class. And then their actual teacher sits at the back and they evaluate you. And and that kind of, and then they make you do that about 7 or 8 times. And then when you're applying for jobs, you have that confidence inside that, yeah, I've done this already, and with a variety of age groups, and you already have some in-classroom experience. And that's something someone just stepping off a plane who did it online, they wouldn't have that. On top of that, the program I took with AVSE, they line you up with job interviews as you're graduating. So that would be my first number one tip. Get a good TEFL. And if you're choosing Cambodia, do the one I took because they'll line you up with a job, or at least with job interviews. It's up to you to show up and look good and, impress them in the interview. The demand here is really strong though, so if you show up, you dress nice, you've got the certificate, you'll have no problem finding a job, pretty sure. My story, let me see if there's a chat going on here. I don't know how to see if anyone's chatting. Live chat. Yeah, I think just no one's writing anything yet. So my story, I come from Canada, and I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for about 12 years. And near the end, I was working my way up into the management. And when COVID hit, they were cutting down branches, and I ended up getting let go. But it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I got a severance package, and then I used that to launch myself into teaching abroad. So then I came over here about last December. So that's December 2021. That's when I landed here. And then the TEFL course with AVSC, it wasn't starting yet. They kept on pushing it off because of COVID. No one could get to the country. And so then they ended up having the first course back after COVID was in February. So I did my TEFL course in February of 2022. And it's a month long, it's 4 weeks. And you go every day for full days, Monday to Friday. And they include accommodation with it. So it's 4 weeks, full-time program, and you get accommodation. And at the end of the 4 weeks, they've sent your CV and resume to all the schools they're connected with. So you start to get emails from schools trying to organize interviews and set up a time to meet you. So you could potentially be working like the next week after you graduate the the course. It's designed so that within a month you can become certified and start working. So I did that from like mid-February to mid-March. And then I, on purpose, took a month off because I was trying to find an apartment and get some personal things set off. So then, but I had a job interview set up through AVSC with the school I work at now. And they hired me, but then when they asked me my starting date, I said April. So then my first day was in April, and I've been working at the same school since April of 2022. So now we're almost a whole year at the same school, because now we're getting close to March now. So another, a month and a half, and I'll have been at this job for a year now. And every time it's a new school year, so in September, your contract gets renewed, and then there's the opportunity to, get an increase to your salary. And even me and the other people I started with, when this school year restarted, which was I was maybe 5-6 months in, I did get a small increase. So already since working there, I've had an increase. So it does happen. I see there's 6 people here, 5 people. If you have any questions, I don't see anybody writing anything. Oh, I do see it. Good day. I don't know what else to talk about. I teach grade 8. The school I work at's an international school. It goes from grade 4 to grade 10. You might wonder about what kind of hours. Well, it can be different. Every school can set their own structure. And or you could, there's international schools, public schools. There's a different style called language centers. That could be more part-time, or maybe including evenings or weekends. But I work at an international school, and that works the way that, we all grew up going to school the same way. It's like, like 8 o'clock till 4:30 type of hours. There is, so you're asking about teaching online. I've never tried that, but there's many people that teach online, and they like it. The thing I've heard is difficult about online is just when you very first start, you might not have enough students to be teaching the same amount of hours that you would from a real in-person school. There's different companies you can work with out there, and then others you just have your own like profile up on a website, and you hope people schedule lessons with you. Then over time, the same people, you have repeat students that become your students, and then so over time, if you're teaching online, you can build your business to have a nice, a nice pool of clients that are students that continue to come back to you and can fill your schedule. But from right off the bat, it'll be probably feel more like part-time because you won't have enough students. They said, where did I come from in Canada? I came from Toronto, Ontario. Yep. I had one classmate that we were in the same class. We graduated together. He's from the UK. He was working at the same school with me for about half that time. About, I forget when it was, maybe 4 months ago or so, he got an offer from a different school, like a better offer. So he left where we work and went for the better offer. Yeah, I've been to Kim's where they filmed that show, the TV show. I'm in Phnom Penh. I'm thinking about, I don't know, it's a real distant thought, but I've thought about changing cities. I want to stay in Cambodia, but That's why I've been traveling a lot. If you look at my recent videos, I've been visiting different places, and it's partly to see. In August, I want to visit Canada, visit home, and then come back in September, and possibly start the new school year maybe in a different city. And Siem Reap is one of the thoughts I'm thinking of. Or I might. The thing I'm leaning towards is maybe come back to Phnom Penh, but to a different area. I'm kind of north of where all the action is, so I have to take like a 25-minute tuk-tuk ride anytime I want to go out. Or I play bass guitar, and I've recently just joined two bands, and it's a real hassle in the neighborhood I live in now. I'm far away from where a lot of that stuff takes place. So I'd like to, but right now, the reason I chose where I live now is because I can walk to work or walk home from work. It's really close to where I work, so I need to basically change where I work to the cooler area and then live in the cooler area, and then I could stay in Phnom Penh maybe. Let's see, what were you guys saying? There we go. Drake's all right. It's not really my style of music, but he's from Toronto, so you gotta love Drake. Am I only an English teacher? For me, I only teach English only, and also I only teach grade 8, which is lucky. Sometimes as a teacher, you'll be just English, but you have a few grade 8s and a few grade 9s, or 8, 9s, and 10s or something. And that's much more work for admin and doing lesson planning, because you have to make a set of lesson plans for each grade level. So a whole set for all the grade 8s, a whole set for the 9s you have, a whole set for the grade 10s you have. I teach only grade 8, so I just make one set of lesson plans for the week, and I teach those and then make the next week's lesson plans. So I got kind of lucky that way. Now, I live at the beginning of Sensoc and TK. Sensoc goes like way up there on the map, but I'm like at the very bottom of Sensoc, like so the most south part of Sensoc, but it's still really high up, 1984 Street. How much time do you spend on lesson plans? It gets quicker and quicker the more you do it, and then especially then once you have a month's worth, I almost have a year's worth now, because they get saved in your computer, obviously, like in the Google Drive. And you get so much faster at it. And then also, like what a lot of teachers do is, let's say I'm doing next week's, and there's a lesson that's a reading and comprehension lesson, where you read a story from the book and then there's questions about it after. And every unit has a few of those. And so I would just, in my computer, scroll down to a month ago to the last reading and comprehension lesson, and you just open that lesson plan and change the date and the title and the page number and the just 10 minutes of edit, and you've got the same plan, and you write what you're doing well written, but do it in a way that's not so specific, so that you're able to just change the titles and everything. And it's like, go over the text with the students and choose different people and get input from everyone and all that, but nothing is like too specific, so that you can reuse them. So I use old lesson plans and tweak them. Let's see what people are saying here. But so I was saying, I only teach English, but I've seen when I was looking at other jobs and applying, and from other teachers, you do get asked sometimes to teach other subjects. You could be like math and computer science and things like that. It is possible you'd be asked to do that. Yeah, have I ever considered buying a motorbike? It's way more cost effective to even rent one, but buying one is even better. I'm just I don't want to deal with the danger of it. The streets are like crazy here and the traffic's nuts. Lots of my other teacher friends do it, and they're fine with it. They're always telling me I need to get one, and it's just I'm fine without it for now. Is it better to be paid hourly rate or to be contacted? You probably mean contracted. That all depends on so many things, but I guess in my experience with other jobs, like not with teaching even, but hourly can sometimes be better, because then if you get asked to do more hours, then you get paid for the hours. If you're on a contract just getting paid like an agreed amount, then if all of a sudden they require way more time from you, you're not getting anything more for that time. That's the only thing I'd be worried about. But you just have to look at what makes more in whatever circumstance and situation. Do you have a teacher's assistant? They don't have it. So they stop having a teacher assistant after a certain grade. I think it's grade 4 or 5, something like that. And then they're considered like old enough that they don't have a teacher assistant. So I teach grade 8. They're like 13. Most of them sound like if you closed your eyes, you'd think they're American. Like they just, good morning, teacher, slay. Like they just have all the lingo, and that's so lit. They're just like, totally speak English. And then there's a few that are, there's a little bit of a range of skill level, but a lot of them are completely fluent. I'm not like teaching them English for the first time. It's more I'm teaching them the proper grammar rules and and we do little assignments and play learning activities and games and stuff. What else are you guys saying here? Hit that like button, everyone. Yeah. What's the situation with cannabis here? Well, it's considered illegal, but I think it's legal for local people because they use it in their food and no one really cares about it. And it's technically considered illegal, I think, for foreigners over a certain amount, like if you have a large amount on you, but no one cares. No one enforces it. And, many bars, if you know the right bars to go to, and pizza places, sometimes you can buy pizza here where they call it happy pizza, and they put it on the pizza. And they also would sell milkshakes. And you can buy it from those places too, but it's not like it's legal. It's kind of, you walk up, it's kind of hush hush a little bit, but basically no one really, it's technically, yeah, if you give the officer, that's never even happened to me, but you could just give the officer $5 probably, and you could probably give him some. He'll do it with you. What made me decide to leave Canada? So I was saying that at the start of the video, but I think no one was here. I was just thinking of stuff to talk about, but when COVID hit, I lost my job. And I got a big severance, and we're all in lockdown, and I was getting assistance from the government. So I never even had to use my severance. I was just using the government assistance and letting the severance from my work just sit there. And I'm in lockdown thinking like, what am I gonna do now? I've got this money, I can, start a new thing. And I was trying to think I lived in Toronto, it's a big city in Canada, it's like expensive. So I was trying to think of jobs I would like to do that I'd be able to do anywhere. So I could move to maybe a small town, or I was thinking Windsor, or that's on the edge it's across the thing from Detroit. Or I don't know, I was just thinking to live somewhere cheaper. And the jobs I was thinking of working remotely was teaching online. And then when I was looking up teaching online on YouTube and learning more about it, it led into teaching abroad. And you go down a YouTube like rabbit hole. And that's the same thing with starting this channel. It all came from all that. So I'm watching YouTube and I'm seeing people with YouTube channels that have moved there and they're teaching, and they're just like, if you're someone who's fed up with their job and you have nothing holding you back, and like, what are you waiting for? And get out. We love it here, and get out there, like that kind of thing. And it was like so inspiring. And I was like, I want to do it. And then it was kind of good in a way that I was really restless. I wanted to leave right away. I was like, get me there right now. And I was like daydreaming about it all the time. And just because of all the lockdowns, like the flights weren't going. So, so I was forced to wait. Like from the time I had the idea and I decided like for sure this is what I'm doing, I probably had to wait about 10 months or something. What would it have been? Yeah. Maybe 8 or 9 months from when I was like, if flights were opened, I would have left like 9 months earlier. So I was forced to just sit and wait for about 9 months. But it's kind of like it made me way more sure of it that I really wanted to go. It's almost like that idea that if you're going to get a tattoo or something, you shouldn't just walk in and get one. You should like sleep on it a little bit or like really think about it. So I really was forced to have a long time to ponder and like make sure that that's what's right in my head. Then I started selling all my stuff. Yeah, let's talk about something else here. How's the new apartment going? It's all right. It's cool that it's close to work, but I actually don't like it. Like I should have got one. One thing I wanted was a laundry machine, but it doesn't have one, and I just was like, I'm like, whatever. I just need to be close to work. But I really, next place I'm gonna have a laundry machine, and then, I don't know. I'm not in love with this place. There's no real bad problem or anything, but it's kind of really small and I don't have a balcony or a washing machine. You could do better for the same price or cheaper. It's just I really needed this location to get home. Let's see here. Have the Cambodian women ever approached you as in wanting to date you? They're all, like the dating apps are all happening strong here. So you could, and I'm just not one that I haven't really gone on. I'm not really into that. I've been focusing on my YouTube channel and these bands I'm in and working and stuff. But definitely like Tinder and Bumble and stuff. And within a couple days, you could be going on dates with local girls for sure. Yeah, it's my first time in Asia. Since when I left Canada, it was October of 2021, and it was the only place open was Phuket in Thailand. So I went to the they called it the sandbox. So I went to the Phuket sandbox for a month, and then I extended one more month. And by the end of that second month, Cambodia was starting to open with the e-visa. So then luckily, then I went to Cambodia, and then I paid a visa agent to turn that e-visa into a work visa without having to leave and come back. Like they were allowing you to do that for a little window of time. And then I did that, and then I was just waiting for my TESOL course to start. And then like 2.5 months later, then the TESOL course, and then I got the job, and then I've been working. Let's see. How many trips to Air Force Bar? I don't know that. Any Special K? I don't know about that kind of stuff, but you can get, like, to be honest, I think you can get anything here. And pharmacies like you don't need anything that you would usually need a prescription for if you're from North America. Like think of anything that you would want that would need a prescription. You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy it as if it's a pack of gum or something. I've seen people go in and just be like, "Oh, can I get a thing of Ritalin and some uh, like I don't know, I can't even think of the names of stuff 'cause it's not up my alley, but like painkiller style things, like anything you want. I think you could just go in and be like, oh, you don't even need an explanation, but you could make one to just have small talk and just be like, oh, I hurt my back. Do you have, some such and such? And they just reach behind them off the shelf. Here you go, $5 or whatever. Like there's no need for any prescription for anything. So people are able to get what anything they want, really. What time is it, guys? Let's see here. I'm good. Let's see, what else are you saying? I'm surprised there's so many people here. It's awesome. How many nights in 136? I have friends, so any friends buy a bike. I have friends renting bikes. You can rent monthly. Can even be used to stay long term as a tourist. No, that one you've written with a lowercase e, it can be extended for one more month, so like 2 months total. And then what you'd have to do is leave, like go to Thailand, that's the closest. So like go to Thailand for 2 days and then get another e-visa and come back in and do another 2 months. Like you could keep on leaving and getting another e-visa. So you have to do visa runs. Do you think you will teach in other Asian countries? It's hard because I don't have a degree. So not impossible, but a lot of the other places need a degree, or the most straightforward way, like you need a degree, and then without a degree you have to get sneaky or or get in somehow. Like I don't do the 136 stuff. What's the average salary for a new teacher and your average budget per month? That's a really good salary, 1,800. But it sounds like because you're very qualified. You have a CELTA, and you probably have a degree. But what's the average salary for a new teacher? It depends if you're from a native English speaking country. I would guess like 1,100 or 1,200. It depends on how many teaching hours they're offering you and maybe what grade level and your experience too. But if you're brand new, what I would say is try not to take less than 1,200 to very first start. And you could even say 1,400 if you have some kind of something you can back it up with. But yeah, you just said 1,800. That's very good, but it sounds like you have some qualifications to help justify that, and experience probably. I've heard Ace paying more than that even, actually. Let's see. How many girl bars on Korong? I think there's a lot. Yeah, I've heard of people at ACE making over 2 grand. Is it possible to get a part-time ESL job? Get a work visa with a BA. Well, you get a work visa after you get a job. So like someone hires you, once you're hired, they can give you a letter of employment, and then you go to the visa office and get them to get a work permit. And the work visa. But if it's teaching, you need a TESOL or TEFL certificate. And you can find part-time. I feel like it's less common. Like a school wants someone full-time, like they want. Then part-time, they got to find more people. But I think there are part-time, especially language centers that do stuff in the evenings and things like that. Da-da-da. My mate teaches in Vietnam. He doesn't have a degree, but forged one. They accepted it without checking. Yeah, I've thought of that. I even looked into it and asked a few people at like there's services and companies that can do that for you, and it's really expensive and there's no guarantee. Like it'll probably work, but I've heard it's like probably after it's all said and done, it's like between $1,000 and $2,000 to get. It'll be like 1,000 for this, and then another 200 for that, and then 300 for this, and then I remember looking into it, and it was going to be around 1,500 or more to get something that then you don't even know for sure if it'll work or not. So that I've never really jumped on it yet. I've done the one at the visa agent, but it wasn't 385. I think it was a little bit less than that. But my school, it's through my school, and they pay for it, or they pay for. I forget if they pay for 100% of it, but like I pay for it, and I take a tuk-tuk. I do it during school hours, then I come back to the school, and I just give them the receipt for it. And then on my next paycheck, they've put it on. But I forget if it's 100% of it or maybe just a good chunk of it. Because I've only done that once, but I got like most of the money back. The school will help you pay for that stuff. Maybe not 100%, but most of it. I love your intro music. Yes, thank you. It's me singing. It's me. I'm a musician, so I like wrote that song. That's part of what I did when I don't know if you were there earlier when I was explaining this earlier. I explained like in the 9 months before I left Canada, I was like just waiting to come here, waiting for flights to open, and I was watching YouTube tutorials on making YouTube videos because I was like, when I get there, I want to like know how to do it or have an idea. And then another thing I was doing while I was killing time is like planning it kind of, and I'm like, I'll need an intro song and I'll need a logo. And that's why I like simple. That's why my logo thing is really kind of lame, but I like a nice simple one. And then I made that and recorded that song, and so I was like sitting on that song for 6 months even before I even left Canada. Sorry, I keep pausing. I'm like reading stuff people are writing. Yeah, it was 285. That's right. That's what I did. It's 285, but the school helps pay for it. Right. I don't get demonetized for the music. You can't do licensed music. So actually all the beats. So whenever you hear any music in any of my songs, even though it sounds kind of cultural, I make those beats in my sound program that's called Logic, and I find loops and samples that are of Chinese instruments or Asian instruments. I put them in with the beats so it sounds more like it's from the right place. So if I'm walking through a temple, you might hear like those ding 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 bing bing and like stuff like that, and it sounds more cultural. So I make all the beats and musics, and not only the little jingle at the intro, but all the beats. Have you ever experienced any negative Cambodians in terms of you being foreigner? Not really. They look at you like they just assume you're rich. So that's one thing that I don't like. But they don't hate you. Like it's really it's a friendly vibe is mostly what I would feel. Like, hey, come hang out with us. Like, come drink with us. They're like a bunch of guys sitting together on a corner, or like, and maybe they're having a few beers together. And when you walk by, they'll like, hey, hello, hello, and then they hold it, they're trying to wave you over, and they're smiling, and they're hospitable. They want to here, eat some of it, try this, like, and they're really welcoming. But then, on the other hand, like you could be walking on Riverside if you're in a touristy area, and it might happen to me a lot because I walk alone. So it's not like if I'm talking to somebody else, if I'm with other people, they have to come up and interrupt because I'm walking alone. I'm an easy person to come up and be like, "Hey, sir, do you want to, do you want to tour around the islands? Do you want to this or that?" And so, like, whenever I go on these trips or I go anywhere, I feel like it's, "Sir, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that?" And you can't blame them. They're trying to do their job, but after a while, you're like, "No, I don't need a tuk-tuk. I don't need a tuk-tuk. I don't need a tuk-tuk." Island Shivers. How do you know Island Shivers? Who are you? Island Shivers was a project I had with my buddy Justin, and it was like one album. We had two albums. One album was all my songs, but when we recorded them, Justin had a major part in all the. So they're sort of both of our songs. They started as my songs on just acoustic guitar. But then he helped me record them as style. He had to add a lot in with the instruments, so then they end up. He added a big portion to it as well. So they're kind of like, in that way, they're both our songs. But I wrote like the lyrics and like the basic part of the song, and then he would add in guitars and drums and produce them and stuff. And that was Island Shivers, and that's on Spotify. How are you handling the heat? Yeah, it's hot. Well, we just went through a cool season. It's been really cold lately, and it's just ending. So now it's starting to get hot again. But as cold, I mean like 19 degrees, 19 to 23, 24 degrees, but which is super nice. And because normally in Cambodia, when it gets back to hot, it'll be like 33 every day. It's getting there now. It's getting back to warm now. I'm more used to it now than when I first got here. Or like even walking and you're getting all sweaty, you don't even notice it right away. Like, oh my God, I'm so sweaty. It's just like, yeah, like you don't even bat an eye anymore when you're covered in sweat. Oh, thanks. I'm your favorite vlogger. I try to just keep it real and keep it sincere, and I'm not like, today we're blah, 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 like acting all sensational like a TV host or whatever. You get it straight up with me, and I like to do the music. My watch hours, I'm not monetized, even though I'm past 1,000 subscribers. You have to have a certain amount of watch time as well. 4,000 hours, and it has to be within a year. And I came very close, and then the 365 days was up, and I was only a few hundred hours away. And then now, last year's numbers are falling off. Like they get erased because it's only the last 365 days. And so even though I'm trying to go strong, there's some days my numbers go backwards because that day last year is getting removed from the number. And it's like, I had a really hot February last year. So now this February, that's all falling away. And it was about 1,000 hours in February last year. So it's really frustrating. I got really close to being qualified to get monetized. And now this February, they're getting all subtracted from last year's is getting subtracted. So that's part of why I'm doing this live. It's an effort that's one way to increase watch time hours is to do live videos, because then they're usually a bit longer. Like this one's about 40 minutes, and there's 13, 14 of you watching. So right there, I've almost got like 8 hours. But then plus after this is over, it'll post as a video, and people will watch it after. And this is a long video. This is like having the length of 4 videos now. So hopefully this can help push my watch time hours. And you guys could help if you share it, or if you if you watch a playlist so the videos go in one into the next or whatever. But I'm sure a lot of you have already seen them. Let's see, what are you guys saying here? You eat breakfast yet? No. What time is it actually? I gotta 6. I gotta go in like 10 minutes maybe. Do you ever use your AC? I do use it. Yeah, I like using my AC. What I do is the second that I notice that I feel cold, I turn it off. Because I'm like, why am I, why is it on if I feel cold? Like, turn it off. So like when I get home from work and it's like hot in here, I would turn it on, and then, or sometimes what I do is I turn it on, and then if it's starting to be like that's enough, then I press beep, 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 and I turn it to just fan. So it's not air conditioning anymore, but the air conditioner thing is just blowing air like as a fan. Switch it to fan mode. And then if it gets hot again, flip it back. How much is your electricity bill? Well, my place is really small, so it's probably pretty low, but it's about, this last month I just paid it, it was $25. But it's been more some months, so I guess I would say average maybe 30. But I was watching videos back before I left Canada of people here in lockdown, and because it was lockdown, they weren't going to work, like at school, they were working at home online. And they were saying their electricity bills were through the roof because they're staying at home, they're not leaving in the morning and turning everything off. They're there all day, and they have to have the air conditioner on to like exist in there. And then the end of those months, their hydro bills were way more. They were paying like $120 a month or something for their. But who knows? Maybe those are people that are cranking it too hard, or you could get by with a rotary fan. You know, the like those rotating ones, and then I don't even have one of those. But if you get a good one of those, I have other friends that they say they never turn on their AC, or only when it's like at the hottest point they'll turn it on for like a half an hour and then turn it off again, and then just deal with the fan. What are my working hours like? Well, I just do straight up hours, 7:30 to 4:30, and then within that, I have classes that, like, periods where I teach a class and periods that are free periods. Like today, for instance, I'm there for that whole time, but I only teach 4 classes today. So I think I show up at 7:30 and I don't teach until 8:30. So I just chill for an hour with my teacher buddies and drink coffee and stuff. And then 8:30 I have one class, and then I have a free period, then I have a class, and then I have lunch, and then the period after lunch I have free, so it's like a double lunch. And then I think then I teach 2 classes in a row, and then I have a free period, and then you go home. So it's like I have 3 free periods and a lunch, and then 4 classes today. So there's lots of free time during the day. But today I've got to make lesson plans for next week. Yeah, I have a few friends dating Cambodian women. They like it. Sometimes the girls' parents are conservative. Like they wanted to, during a holiday, they wanted to take a trip down to Kampot, and the parents were like, no, you're not allowed to go together. The girls' parents. So sometimes the parents can be too traditional. Ever been scammed? No, but you gotta watch out for that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the Far Away from Home. That's an original song. I do like a solo acoustic songwriter thing called Sleepin' Tom, and that's one of the tunes. How many students in your class? Well, I teach 6 different grade 8 classes, and each class has 25 kids. So I guess that's like 150 students. I got certified at, it's 4 letters, AVSE. I keep trying to bring up the chat, it's not working. People don't call you Barang, but they'll talk about you. El Hero. My most recent video was a nightlife video. If you look at my videos, I did it's called Nightlife in Cambodia. It was at Basak Lane. Yeah, the $100 bill thing. That sounds like BS to me that it came out of an ATM machine, but anything's possible. The trick I've heard is if they can ever get their hands into your wallet, like they'll steal your $100 bills and put a fake one in. Like they do that at massage places, I've heard. Like you hang your jacket up or your coat, they'll have a closet where the back wall of the closet removes. So you hang your stuff up and they close the closet, and then from behind the closet they open up that wall and they reach in the pockets and they pull out your $100 bills and they replace it with fake $100 bills. So then when you put your stuff back on, you look in your wallet quick, you're like, yep, it's all there, and then you've got fake ones now. And they do that. My school pays monthly, but I know another school that pays bi-weekly. So it can be every school could be different. You can deposit money in the ATM machine, but I don't get paid in money. Like I never handle cash ever. It's direct deposit, and then I use an ABA. I use my banking app. Like everywhere here has QR codes, even the little street food stalls. So you could walk up with your phone and they have a sticker on their street cart of a QR code, and you just can scan and send the money like on your phone. So I rarely even carry cash anyway. Yeah. The message places are prostitutes. Do you need a federal background check? I was told that, like my school told me to prepare a criminal background check, like before I left Canada. And I had one, and I think I was never asked for it. Because I think too, when you get one of those, they're only good for 6 months, and then you have to get another one. So I've already been gone for like a year, so like I don't even have a valid one really anymore. A criminal record check. Yeah, the schools, like I get taxed on at least, well again, like with this taxing year, do schools sort the taxes out? At my school they do. You never know. What if you go work at some shadier school and they pay you with an envelope of money? Like you never know. Like at mine, it's direct deposit, and we get a pay slip that shows like the tax getting taken off, and that there's even some that goes into a pension and some that goes to our benefits and stuff. Yeah, I have a ABA. The bank here is ABA. When you get a job, they help you set up a bank account because they need to direct deposit into it to pay you. Yeah, that ninja teacher guy, he actually went to the course I went to, and then he kind of copied the same outline. Like he took their idea and was like, I'm going to start my own school. And so he did the program I did and then created his own program. That's what I've heard, but he's not government certified. So that's the only thing. I've seen his videos too, ninja teacher. AVSC, where I went, it's government accredited. So it's a bit better of a certification. His is not actually certified at all, but he does know what he's doing, that guy. Did you get a Skype phone number? No. They can just do it from email. I've never had to deal with that problem with the Skype thing. How much do you think is a good salary per month? I think you could comfortably get by on like 800 or 900, but you wouldn't be saving that much. So even if you made like 1100, let's say then, or 1200, that's why I was saying, if it was me going out there getting a job, I wouldn't accept less than 1200. Like, so I would say 1200 is the answer, but you don't need 12. You could live off probably 800, but 12 is nice. You'd have to be watching your spending a bit more to live off 800. Let's see, what are you saying here? I don't have a VPN. If you have a bachelor degree, then I wouldn't go lower than 1400, and you're probably looking more at like 1600. Like, you should aim for 16 at least. You might get offers of 14. No, 1200 before tax. I've gotten in trouble for talking about what I make. I guess I never said what school I work at. I'm not supposed to talk about those kinds of details. But I started between 12 and 1300. But I have a friend who has a degree that's got a job at ACE making over $2,000 a month. So, if you have experience and all that stuff, I would say go for 1600. But watch out, like, they're gonna start saying, yeah, it's 1800, and you have 30 teaching hours a week. Like, maybe they'll overload your schedule for that amount of money. Be careful what they try to overwork you. I don't know about all that ATM stuff. All right. Well, it's been almost an hour. Does anyone have any last things they want to say? I'm gonna sign off soon, I think. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Oh, last question. I got you. How much do you think of decent for like 4 months? Well, you might need more because you can't get a lease on an apartment like for only 4 months. So you'd probably need like, I don't know. You might need like 1200 a month. Well, it depends if you lived in hostels. You could do it. Depends how cheap you go. Like, it depends on your level of comfort you need. But for food and stuff, you only need like 250 a month for food. For your phone, you only need like 25 bucks, like 300. It's just if you're in hotels and stuff, you're gonna pay like 600 a month on a hotel probably. hotels are not as cheap as like. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the viewership. I want to get there. I want to get monetized and keep this going, because then I can use the money to go do cooler stuff, or maybe give it back to the communities here, or do an animal video or something. And like the channel For Real, they donate all their money. I could do something like that. Like I plan on using it towards the channel, so I'm gonna keep some of it. But like I wouldn't mind putting a month's worth on a charity or for sure, or every once in a while, or maybe every other month or something. But we got to get there. I'm not even monetized yet. YouTube's taking all the money right now. So if I do more of these things and we chit chat, then it'll get my hours up. Yeah. You're talking about on Kamai 24. My apartment before this one was 140 a month. I got on Kamai 24. I've just heard about it on YouTube and stuff. All right, I'm going now. I gotta go to work. Bye, guys.